preloaded the large board. I'm using the large board. So I'll flip it over. I preloaded row 2, 3, 4, and I'll preload row 5. So we just did normal holes. So we're going to do 16 petals here, 8 here, 8 here, and 8 here. So I think it's a total of 40 petals. Now you do have to pay attention for this petal. You really have to pay attention to the sizing of your mesh. Okay, so if you do, if you're going to use a poly burlap, most poly burlaps come in 10" by 10 yards. It's the width that we're worried about. Okay, just for flower making, when the petals have to line up. This fabric mesh is 10.5 inches. Okay, so I cut my pieces 10.5 by 10.5. So I cut it on the wood burner. You can check out my YouTube channel. I do have a few videos on there on how to wood burn or heat seal. So my mesh, 40 pieces, was 10.5 by 10.5. Now, the thing with 10.5 inch mesh is you have to open a second roll in a few pieces, a roll and a quarter, I would say. But then the 3/4 of the roll, you could make a wreath with, or a second flower on a small board. So I'm going to finish preloading row 5. So row 5, I'm doing 8 petals. So I'm just going down one hole, back up the other. And I am using shared holes. So it'll look like complete stitching when I go all the way around. Oh my God. So if you flip it over, I can see where I missed the zip tie, but you'll have complete zip ties going all the way around row 5. So again, row 2 is 16, row 3 is 8, row 4 is 8, and row 5 is 8. Okay, so the petal's fairly easy. Oh, again, I cut my mesh 10.5 by 10.5. I did wood burn it. For this petal, I like to use clamps, like little clips, or even clothespins, or whatever you have. You're going to take your petal, curl up, so it rocks back and forth. That's what I call curl up. That's curl down. So it's curl up. I turn it into a diamond shape, and I make sure, especially for this petal, you want to make sure that your factory edge is at the top left of your diamond. Okay, so there's my right hand. It might be backwards on the screen, but I always have my serged edge top left. Okay, so it's coming down this way. So I'm going to take the top corner. I'm going to bring it down to the bottom corner. Now I'm not going to worry about the bottom corner lining up. It's these two corners that, for this petal, that we are concerned about. So I like to just take the top and just run it down the seam here so it's even, and then I'll go over to this side. See, I'm not really paying attention to the bottom here. I'm going to go over to this side, make sure these two pieces are lined up. Put my clip on it. Okay, and now I'm ready to make my petal. Now I pre-made almost all my petals. I did it while I was watching TV. So, and I throw them in a laundry basket as I'm making them. So, and you can pre-make them just by using little clear rubber bands that you get from the dollar store in the hair department. So we have this triangle shape. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this bottom corner just right up about an inch. The bottom corner is about an inch from the top seam here. All right. And then all I do is put my left hand down. There's my corners. I know they're not meeting up, but that's okay because these corners are what matters. They need to match up, okay? I'm going to flip this up, like I said, about ½ inch. I put my left hand where my finger is just running down the center there, and I just flip it over my hand. And when you do that, you basically, the two tips will line up. They'll be even. So that's why I put my hand down and flip it over. Then you don't have to fuss around with trying to move the bottom here to make sure the two tips match. Okay, now why it's important about that factory edge, because you see how this curve is going? We want the curve to go that way for the whole wreath, okay? So I'm going to take this, I call this just a nub, put it in about a fingertip into the zip tie and just do it up. Okay, and then you can take these off. And then we'll do another one. Again, curl up, factory edge, top left. You're going to bring that top corner down. And we're focusing on the two right and left corner. And this is a really pretty flower when it's done properly. So just take your time. Like I spent about an hour pre-doing my petals, you know, on my lap, watching my show, and just taking my time. So I'm flipping that bottom corner up. I put my hand, and then I'm just going to flip that right over my hand. And almost every time, the two tips are the same length. And you're going to keep going around. And you can see how the petals are curving the same way. And that's because I paid attention to where that factory edge is. And now if you want to pre-make petals like I did, just take a couple of your little rubber bands, make your petal. Now when I used to do this, I never lined up the corners. I would just kind of flip it over. But I just find when you line up the corners nicely, it makes such a nicer looking flower. So take your time to do that if you're going to do this petal. Take your time to make sure your corners match up. Don't worry about down here. Okay, we're not worried about down at the bottom corner. We're going to flip that up. Put your hand. My finger is literally on the center peak right here of that bottom corner I flipped up, and then I flip it over, and again, bam, they're both the same length. Then I scrunch it, and this is how I pre-make them. Take one of these little rubber bands, and then just I go around it. Or if you have enough of these like sewing clips, you can just put little sewing clips on there. But I make them in my lap, and then I toss them in a laundry basket when it's done. And then once all the petals are ready, I just whip them right into the board. And which is nice because I just zip tie right over the elastic band or the rubber band or whatever you call it. This is called the Bubba petal. It's kind of like the Rita petal, but it's all going the same way. The curve of the petal is going the same way. So that is the difference between the Rita petal and the Bubba petal. The Rita petal goes different ways. So the Rita petal is made just like this. So you can still keep your points together like that. But what you're going to do for the Rita petal is you're just going to scrunch right up the center like that. So you have, looks like two wings on it. And you're going to flip it up. So you see, that's the Rita petal. So one side's going one way, one side's going the other. That's the Bubba petal, where both petals are going curving one way. Okay, so there is a difference, and that's the difference. It's just the way you flip up the mesh and fold it over. So that is my last piece of mesh. The rest I have it all pre-made. So I will pop them all in. So we'll get this done toot sweet. So just keep going clockwise or counterclockwise. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go around and cut off my zip tie tails. This is my zip tie gun. You can see how fast. What it does is pulls the zip tie tail and cuts it once it's tight. So once you have your petals made, you can whip through a flower wreath in like 10-15 minutes. So literally just sliding them into the zip ties. There we go. Now we're going to move on to the next. Once you get the second row done, it goes pretty fast because the rest of the rows only have 8. Okay. Yeah, it is a game changer. It really helps on your hands. This one I've had for over 3 years. It's metal. We do sell them in the store. I'm not sure if there's any left, but I also have a link. This one actually came from Amazon, and this is the one I have in my store. So they're both the same. And of course, there's no company names on them, but all right. So now we're on to the next row. We're just going to continue on popping our petals in. Actually, this is going to be gorge. It's going to be gorgeous. I've been dying to use this mesh since before. We got it before Christmas. But we also have it in red. We have it in sage green. We have it in smoke blue. But the stripe on it, the metallic stripe on it, like I said, is not a really true gold. Now this gold bling rope would work as well. But I think if you want to keep it neutral for home decor, the black, and this is the champagne. The champagne matches perfectly. Okay. Get this done so I can go eat my dinner. This is the large board. I always use the large board. I shouldn't say always. I used a small board not too long ago. The large board's my favorite because I like the spacing between the rows, like the rows like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that kind of rows, not the flower rows. And it makes a nice big flower. So like if you're gonna make a flower, make a flower. So this is like 30 inches in diameter. It's perfect size, especially for a door. And the nice thing about the flower wreaths is you can, like if you have an order for a double door, the flower wreaths are so easy to match. Like you can get them looking identical, which is hard to do like with a ribbon wreath, right? So the flower wreath, and people love the flower wreaths because they are so different, especially one like this. And I did make a navy blue with rose gold one not too long ago in the VIP group, and that turned out stunning. That's still on my website. I don't think people realize I'm selling my wreaths now. So this wreath will be for sale. It'll be $65. I do sign it. You never know. When I'm dead and gone, it might be worth some money. So if you're just joining and you don't know who I am, I am the inventor of the boards. That's why I do sign it. It's not that I'm a narcissist or anything. I'm using fabric mesh, Mom. And Mom, I watch it on Crave TV. The number of this particular mesh is RY8329F8. But if you just go into our search bar and type in gold metallic, all the colors will come up. There's also a champagne color if you want to break up some of the black or whatever color you're using. There is a champagne metallic mesh on the website that is exactly this color. So you can, you know, use row 3, maybe a few pieces, 8 pieces of the champagne. And if you do that, you only have to use 1 roll of the fabric mesh, because the fabric mesh is a lot more pricier than like a normal roll of metallic deco mesh. So if you break it up and do 8 of the less expensive, you know, metallic mesh, you don't have to break open another roll of fabric mesh. So it's just a little good little tidbit there. And then that's what I did with the rose gold one. You'll see, I did a swirl though. I did a swirl flower. So I used rose gold and the navy with rose gold stripe through it. But you'll be able to see how nice the 2 colors look together. So the gold or the champagne, and there's several colors of this. The champagne and whatever color you use will go really nice together. And it is the wide foil. All right, so now I'm not in the last one. I'm just going to go start wherever. We're going to do 8, and it's going to fit, cover up any of these spaces here. So you're only going in about 1/2 inch, but I'm going to continue going around like I was, zipping them in. So I was watching the show Your Honor with Bryan Cranston when I was making these. Oh my gosh, what a good show. So it wasn't really like I was working because I was watching my show anyway, so it gives me something to do while I watch TV. All right. So again, I used 40 petals. If you do use a solid champagne, you can do 8 of them. And then you only need 32, which is 1 roll. It is a good show. It's a really good show. Now this would be cool if you have Mardi Gras right now. The black and gold. This is great. Not Mardi Gras. Yeah, Mardi Gras. You could put Mardi Gras center in this thing and then change it out after Mardi Gras. But isn't the New Orleans Saints are this color too? So there's all kinds of things. Last one. And that's it. Cut these off. So easy. I love the flower wreaths too because then I don't have to be fixing ribbons all the time. So I do prefer a flower wreath on my door because my kids go around and mess up my ribbons, so I have to fix them. Isn't that pretty? Look how beautiful it is. All right, so I want to make sure all my tips are not stuck because sometimes the mesh sticks to each other. So you want to see it all going. And so I just kind of lift it up and it gives it, see this one was bent down. It just gives it a more 3D look. It's not so flat. These do fit between 2 doors. So we want to make sure none of them are stuck. So again, you can see how they're all going the exact same way, almost like a pinwheel, right? There we go. So there's the side view. So it's not very deep. So this is the black. Let's see what we like. So I'm going to take pictures of both centers, but I'll just put them on right now. This one I'm going to, I think it's just because it's black. So there is the black center. Where's my tweezers? I don't want to plug in my heat gun because it's so loud. There we go. Oh well. Anyways, that is the black. Now it's hard to see on my screen, but you can see the glitter on it. So if it's on a front door and that sun hits it, it will be glittering, like shining like the sun. So you can offer it this way. Take a few pictures, okay? Take a video, whatever you need to do to sell it, and then switch it out and you put your other one in. Or you could even put, you know, a 6-inch sign in there, depending on what color. I just had this sitting here. But you can offer it 3 different ways, or even 4. Like if you have a, I made this yesterday with little rosettes. It's not quite the right color of gold, and I have an issue with that, so I will save this for a St. Patrick's Day flower. But this is just the roping, the Christmas roping from Hobby Lobby. Again, just cable mounted on the back. It's very secure on there, and I'm just going to put one pipe cleaner down one hole. There's 2 holes right in the center, so that's going to keep your flower center right smack dab where it needs to be. And then the other one, pull it and twist it on the back. Okay. Now, when you don't want to, when you're gonna ship your wreath, you'll want to cut these ends and put them down into the hole. But don't do that until you've taken all your pictures, and don't do it until you've actually sold the wreath. That way you can, if they want this center, all you have to do is undo this and switch the centers, right? And then you just sold the wreath. And then it's so easy to do multiples just with doing one wreath, but you got to make sure you have enough product and supplies to make another one. Wow, that's beautiful. That's perfect. I don't know if they have this on their website. It's just, I know they have this all the time. I got this at Christmas time, so if I give you the SKU, it probably won't come up. But if you go into the ribbon section at Hobby Lobby, they do have these in all different colors. This is a champagne color, which is what that is. All right, so there we go. Now, I wouldn't put green leaves on it. It's very elegant, right? However, we do need to put a hanger on it. So this doesn't have leaves or anything, so you can pretty much hang up. You can put, what am I trying to say? You could even make a hanger. Hey, let's do this. Let's make a hanger for the wreath using this string or this rope. It'll match the center. Okay, so I just cut a piece of rope. It's this roping from the center. It's 32 inches. Okay, I'm just going to tie a knot in the bottom. Actually, I won't tie a knot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it. Maybe not. Actually, hold on. I'm going to go down and up right here because it's tinier. Now you could take a zip tie, put it around the bottom here. Now, normally you just put a zip, I just show a zip tie from here to here, make a loop, cut the tail off, and we're done. Yeah, I have the gold glitter rope here too as well. So you can use any color. So pulling this tight, we're going to cut this off. I'm going to slide this through, zip it, and then the zip tie that I did at the bottom acts as the stopper. All right, pop that zip tie tail head right into the hole so there's nothing. Scratch the door. I'm going to do the same with the other one. I'm going to cut this off, trim it off so it looks nice. And I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue right under here. And just push it down and hold it. There we go. So we have a nice, let's cut this off. We have a nice little hanger that matches. Ooh, that looks pretty. It matches the center. So the customer can put a knot in the top if it's too long or whatever. There we go. Just like that. It's just a little bit decorative. And it matches the center here. A little extra. And they can, or you can just put a zip tie, whatever you want. Alrighty, so don't remember the black one, the black center is a 4-inch. It's a little smaller than the rope one. And there's the black. Both look really pretty. Anyways, I'll be listing it with both ways anyways, so get that out. And if you're giving it as a gift, you can sign a little note. I do sign my wreaths. You'll never know. One day it might be worth the money. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys. Really fast, quick, easy, very pretty. And like I said, it is 30 inches in diameter. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Bye, all.